Hey guys, it's JJ. Welcome to the Washington DC State University White Tigers. I know it looks like I'm doing a Maryland series, but I created a team builder team set in Washington DC. If you create a team builder team and load into a game, you just jump straight from the loading screen into the kickoff selection. And so there is no real game video. Or like an entrance video from players entering the stadium. So I just put the game in Maryland. And but I created a team in the team builder that's set in Washington, DC. And we are going to have what I call a pipeline dynasty. I have 4 rules for this rebuild. And first of all, only recruiting in pipelines. Pipelines is not something that has anything to do with the game itself. Like, I don't care about the game's pipelines. That is just not important to me. What I mean by pipelines or recruiting in pipelines is we can only recruit in pipelines, and a pipeline is a state of which I have 10 players on my team. So we are going to start out recruiting 10 players from Washington, D.C. We are going to act as if Washington, D.C. is its own state. And then after I get 10 players from Washington, D.C., I have to always have 10 players from Washington, D.C. on my team. After I have them, I can then recruit from bordering states, which in this case is Maryland and Virginia. After I have 10 players from Maryland and Virginia on my team, or like one of them, let's say Virginia, then I can start recruiting from West Virginia, from Tennessee, from North Carolina. And yeah. Washington, D.C. is its own state, so I have to have, like if I want to go have players from Pennsylvania, I have to have 10 players from Washington, D.C. and 10 players from Maryland on my board. The fun part is, if I ever lose a pipeline, like if I ever go below 10 players from a state in that pipeline, and other states become disconnected from Washington, D.C., I can no longer recruit from that. From those states. So I always have to make sure I have at least 10 players from Washington, D.C. and Virginia and Maryland so that I don't lose those privileges. And obviously I could go further, but the point is I will never get to Texas or to California or to Florida. I have replaced Rutgers with this team builder creation. So the game will act as if my team was in New Jersey, so that's kind of a little bit weird, but it's close enough. And we are going to be in the Big Ten, so we're going to lose a lot in the beginning stages. And we are going to have 3 rivalries, and that is going to be Navy, which is set in Maryland, or which program is in Maryland. And then Virginia, which is just on the other side of the Potomac River. And as you can also see, the stadium is called Potomac River Stadium. We will act as if I built the stadium right on the river there. And then the third team is obviously Maryland. So those are the 3 rivalry games we will have every year. I hope at least that schedule allows me to do that. And the school I said, well, with replacing Rutgers, we took over a lot of their stuff. Playing style is just going to develop over time. Proximity to home, well, we still are going to have a lot of A's. We just won't have the A+ for players in Washington, D.C. and Maryland, but it's close enough. And then championship contender also depends, like obviously. Program to tradition we take over what Rutgers did, so can't do much about that. And then next, pro potential and that kind of stuff is also going to depend. Stadium atmosphere on how we do. Campus lifestyle is also a part of that, so that's going to change over time. Academic prestige, we will take over Rutgers' A-, and that's not going to change at all. So we will always have high prestige, and I like to imagine that a state university set in Washington, D.C. is a good university, you know? And yeah. And then the conference, A+, Big Ten. Yeah, I don't think that's going to change too much. And then the athletic facilities also depend on team success. So yeah, what we're going to do now is I have set up the first recruiting class. I have to have a team for the first couple of years that is not made up of Washington DC players, because you can't change the Washington DC or like the hometown for any player. And so what I am doing now, I'm gonna go through 2 years. First year is just gonna be recruiting, and I'm gonna do that off screen, or I already did that off screen. So I'm just looking at the board right now. We're gonna take a look at all these players that are on the board right now, and they are all from Washington DC, every single one of them. I can only recruit from Washington DC, and I put every player from Washington DC on the board that allows me to do so. There were a few players that like already had locked me out, or have a deal breaker that I don't have and stuff, but I put everybody else on the board. It's 21 players. I have to say though, I missed out on a JUCO, or I didn't miss out, but like I missed him when I first went through the board. I found him later, or you're gonna see him in a while. His name is funnily Maryland. His last name is Maryland, so that's kind of funny. And yeah, all the players on this board are gonna be recruited now by me, and I hope I get at least 10. So then for the next season, I can have a recruiting class with also players from Maryland and Virginia. But for now, we have to take care of Washington, DC. And yeah, lots of these players are like 1 and 2 stars. There's a few 3 stars, and I think there was only 1 4-star, but I think he had a deal breaker, so I couldn't get him. No kicker though, so have to wait for that. And what we're gonna be doing is I'm gonna go through who of these players we got, and that is actually 18. We got 8 or like 17 with Maryland still waiting. So we got the 3 quarterbacks. Jamie Rhodes is one of them, and then Josh DeMarco and Wade Scioli. So those are the 3 quarterbacks we're going to be having. I think a couple of them are going to be good enough for like starting in the first couple of games, but not good enough to compete in the top in the Big Ten or something like that. Nobody of those players is going to lead us to a national championship or something. Spencer Maryland, I found him late in the season. I completely missed on him. I put him on the board, and I had to continue the battle into the off season. But we have, yeah, just backup caliber players, like even walk-on caliber players. But we also have a couple players that I am actually really excited about. And hang on. I confused this. Okay, so I already did all the like both the seasons for this video. That's already everything about that is already done. But by the way, John Gammon here is my first recruit. So he's like the first official recruit of this series. He has a deal breaker though, so I hope he doesn't transfer away. Because I think the deal breaker was Coach Prestige, and we're gonna be losing for the first 2 seasons because I put what's it called, a cupcake roster on this team. So this first season ended 0-12. The Coach Prestige went down a lot. 0-12 is not a great start, but I also I simmed everything. All the players on the team that are on the team at this stage, they will all be gone as soon as I have enough players from Washington DC and then Maryland and Virginia. Everybody else will be gone at that point then. But this is what we got for our first recruiting class. Lots of 3 stars, but in total it's 17 players, and then Spencer Maryland is the one that's still missing. Yeah. And I don't know what I was looking here for. Oh yeah, Spencer Maryland, here he is. We had a couple of players even with Impact Dev, is something that I forgot to mention, and a couple of them are actually quarterbacks. Jamie Rhodes is the one that I hope is going to be our first quarterback for the future. But yeah. Let's change over to the next recruiting board. This is now the recruiting board for the second season. Now I'm also gonna go sim through the entire second season, or I already did that, because I redshirted everybody from year 1, and we actually did get Spencer Maryland. So this is this is actually the recruiting board for season 2. The other one was still the one from season 1, just with Spencer Maryland. Now we recruited 18 players in season 1, all from Washington D.C. So now I can go ahead, put players from Maryland and Virginia, the bordering states, on the board. Lots of players, and I actually did put 3 4-stars on the board that all had either no deal breaker or the proximity to home deal breaker. Alani Siao, by the way, is our first insta commit. Like, I put him on the board, I offered him the scholarship, and he took it. So we'll see who else we get. So far only the one, but lots of 3 stars, and the hope to me is that putting 35 players on the board and offering all of them a scholarship. Well, first of all, you might get an insta commit, but even if you don't, you have a scholarship, and most of those 2 and 3 stars, they don't get many scholarships. So just over the season, I don't put any points into them, but I keep them on the board, and they are gonna favor me over the long run. And then late in the season, when I have wrapped up the important battles, I then hopefully can finish up all the 2 and 3 stars and get lots of players. I hope to walk out of this with 30 players or something. And then, sadly, I already had to see somebody leave. That's Kane Powell, the only offensive lineman I was able to recruit in season 1. He left, and I couldn't persuade him to stay. So no offensive linemen so far. But this is the end of recruiting of season 2. We recruited a quarterback. We recruited a receiver that was a bust. We recruited a tight end. Sadly, the 2 receivers I went for that were 4 stars, I didn't get them. I will show one of them later, but it was really close battles there. And then we just, like, Jason Moreland, elite development trait. Are you kidding me? Like, I actually lucked out there. I did not know. Like, I didn't scout any of these players, as you can clearly see. And then 4-star Isaac York, who was a gem and has elite development trait. He is going to be definitely our first ever draft pick if he doesn't transfer away in the meantime. Like, he is going to be an absolute stud. I don't know how I managed that. Well, I mean, I know how I managed it. We're going to get to that as well. And then I got a 3-star gem quarterback as well that I'm excited about. We get a star tight end here in Javier Pullard. 3 stars, 3-star tight end. And this recruiting class was actually very impactful. Now, for what is going to be the actual season 1. Oh, by the way, another safety here with a star development trait. So yeah, we're gonna be golden. By the way, the 4-star safety, he has a playing time deal breaker, so he will not be redshirted. But everybody else will be redshirted as far as I can. Now, this is the receiver that I wanted to get, and I was in the lead for a long time, and then actually not Ohio State, Maryland showed up. Ohio State was the other receiver. They just stole him away from me. But, like, look at this dude. It's a 4-star gem, and he is going to be a 90+ overall guy by the time he gets drafted. And I almost made it happen. Like, it was 1 week. 1 week that I missed. Like, if I had a few more points to offer him, then I would have won. But, yeah. Can't do that. Our coach, by the way, is Alex Day. And I say that because for those of you that don't know my channel at all, he was a corner that I picked number 1 overall, and he was locked down. And I will put the points into the cornerback, the secondary upgrades first everywhere if I can. And that's why I got the safety, the 4-star safety, because I put the points into DB recruiting, and that's the only reason I got him, and that's the reason why I didn't get the 2 4-star receivers that I wanted to get. And yeah, but we're gonna do lots of recruiting for DBs in the future as well. And I also like the 2 corners I have gotten so far. And then we will put a lot of points also in the into the development sector, the Series Zoom motivator. But as you can see, I already put a lot of points as well into the secondary section of this tree, the motivator part. And yeah, now we're gonna go over the roster, which leads us into the real season 1. So I redshirted everybody from the first year, and they didn't play in the second year that I just skipped as well. So now they are redshirt freshmen when we start playing the game. And Wade Scioli, I don't know how he did it, but he somehow went up like 15 overall or something over training, and he looks like our best player already. Wade Scioli has a really good arm and decent accuracies. The only thing is, this guy is 5'9", 170. And he was an athlete when I recruited him, but I couldn't put him anywhere else. Like, he was not good enough as a running back. Like, I was a 50-something overall or something. So he's probably going to be the starting quarterback. Paul Brownlee. As I already said, like, everybody is always going to be redshirted unless they have a playing time deal breaker. Brownlee is going to be redshirted. He was a bust 3-star quarterback that I actually didn't recruit at all. I just had the scholarship on him. I scouted him. I was like, let's just keep him on the board and see where it goes. And then at the end, I was like, oh, let's dump 50 points into him. And then we got him next week. And that was no effort from me at all. But he actually looks like a solid quarterback as well. And let's see where this one goes. And then we have Jamie Rhodes. I thought this one was going to be the guy that wins it for me. He is a scrambler quarterback as well, just like Wade Rhodes. He has impact dev, so not bad. He's a 3-star guy, and I thought he was going to be the best quarterback when we start the series out. I still might consider changing if Scioli doesn't get... like, if he does get it, but Rhodes has a lot of development to do, and I feel like he could in the future be better than Scioli, but we will see. Like, for now, he didn't develop too much in training. And then Dalton Ackers was a gem or quarterback that I recruited in that second season, 3-star with star development trait. I expect him to be the starter after his redshirt season. For now, he has 89 throw power. His accuracies are pretty bad, but I am pretty confident that this guy in his redshirt after his redshirt season is gonna look pretty good. But we'll just we'll find out, I guess. And yeah, last quarterback. I don't feel like this quarterback is gonna see the field ever. Josh DeMarco, he has impact dev, but he's a 1-star. He's 62 overall, and his ceilings like are capped pretty harshly. So I don't really feel like this guy is gonna go far. 87 throw power, and then also not just that, he can't run. This guy's a field general, and I mean, that's okay. The playing style I'm gonna go for with this rebuild is gonna be more of a like dink and dunk. Get the ball out quick, run the ball, have a good defense in like the harsh weather conditions of the Northeast and stuff. So I feel like you can get away with a field general, but like this guy is probably not gonna be it. Spencer Maryland was a JUCO transfer 3-star player that I got in the offseason. Thankfully, I missed him when I first put the board together. I don't feel like he's going to go far. I don't think he's ever going to be drafted, but he already looks kind of solid. I feel like his athleticism is good enough for now, and I'm actually excited to play with him. 90 speed, 91 acceleration, and a decent change of direction ability, and he can catch the football as well out of the backfield, so he's going to be good on like RPO and stuff. And then he already got the bronze safety valve, so improved overall catching. I think this guy's going to be just solid. And then George Garrison, I also recruited him in the first year. He is a 3-star running back with a normal dev trait. So that already tells us he's not going to go far, but he's a power back. He can do stuff that Maryland can't do. And yeah, he can truck, use a stiff arm, and he can get tough yards. He's also going to see the field a bunch. And then I feel like his break tackle and stuff is also good enough. Just his juke and spin is nothing crazy. But he also has 89 speed, so that's not like nothing. It's good enough. And he's going to be good in home games, especially, apparently, according to these traits. Let's jump ahead. We have a bunch of running backs. For some reason, there were so many running backs to recruit for me. But when I finished up the second jumped season, there was a couple positions where I couldn't cut the old players that are still there. I hope they will not see the field a lot, but I'm just not gonna go into them at all. Dalton Graves is a redshirt player right now. He's from the second recruiting class. Normal dev, he has the proximity to home deal breaker. He's not gonna be great at all. I think he's gonna be a career backup. His caps are really limiting, and he's just also not like a really special athlete to warrant extra playing time or something. Yeah. And the last one I'll talk about is Greg Schott, who is probably going to be just a backup. He's a 1-star normal dev trait running back. He's almost at his ceiling as a 65 overall. Like, he's not going to get a whole lot better. And we have our couple of running backs that are going to run. And if Spencer Maryland ever gets hurt, well, we might see Greg Schott for a little bit. But Maryland and George Garrison are going to be the 1-2 punch for this season. Excuse me. And then we have a couple players, like the Weaver guy on the top. That's one of the old guys. I couldn't cut him because I don't think I have enough receivers with all the red shirts I had to do this season. But Mitch Boschetti is a bust 3-star recruit from the second class. He's going to be redshirted this season. I also didn't put any points into him until like 1 season at the end. 1 week at the end where I just put 65 on him and be done. And that like close the deal. He's not a great athlete. Not even a good one. Not even an average one for a receiver. But I mean, I guess he can catch the football a little bit. 81 catching, 76 catching traffic. Eric Flanagan is going to be the lead receiver this season, a 2-star normal dev trait receiver who is already capped. He's not going to get better than a 67 overall. So yeah, that's not great. But he should be like an okay route runner underneath, and his hands are, I guess, okay. But 85 speed is just horrible. I didn't really have a choice though. In the first year, there were just not a whole lot of receivers from Washington, D.C. Next one is Jeff Garber. Same exact thing, 1-star, normal dev. Already almost, like, this guy actually is not capped at all, like completely, but like close enough. You know, like this guy's not gonna be better than like a 68 overall or something. And this is our number two receiver this season. And this guy at least has a little bit of speed. So yeah, that's at least something. But man, these receivers are going to be garbage. And then we have a lot of red shirts because I found a lot of great and interested receivers, especially that I put on my board in the second recruiting class, and they are all redshirted right now. Isaac Waller is not going to be great, I think. He is not capped that harshly, but I don't feel like he's going to be like more than like a 70 overall or something. And 86 speed is pretty horrible. So don't expect too much from that guy. And then Doug Berry, you can expect even less from this guy. 2-star. Impact dev at least, so I think he's gonna reach his cap pretty soon, but that's just because actually, now that I look at it a second time, his caps are not as horrible if I compare it to the other ones, but he's like just a horrible receiver. He can't run a route, and he also can't catch the football. The catching ratings in the 70s is just not okay. Like, there's corners that have better catching ratings than that. And 82 speed, like, come on. This guy is, you can't count on this guy. But that's okay. We have got a few more receivers to go through. And obviously I still have to recruit a few more. But I feel like Boschetti is probably going to be our best bet for the future. And then we have Isaiah Truman. Normal dev, 3-star, 5'9" receiver with actually some decent athleticism. Like, you can live on that, I feel like. Route running, pretty awful though. Yeah, in the 60s and 70s, not great. The catching rating's also not great. But at least 88 speed is not absolutely horrible dog shit. So at least there's a little bit of hope that maybe Isaiah Truman might develop. And then we have Tua Yi, who is a 57 overall, 3-star normal dev receiver at 5'8". This guy's so small, but like, at least he can like do a little bit after the catch here. His route runnings are horrible as well. His hands are pretty bad as well. Like, we are not going to have great receivers in our first season. But luckily, Wade Scioli is a scrambler. And this guy has 80 speed. Like, that's just absolutely horrible. But we'll see. That's all. One receiver left. This is going to be our number 3 receiver for this season. He has a weird glitch with his eyes that I haven't seen before. I actually have a second player on this team that also has this glitch. And also there's like something with the ratings going on. I don't know exactly what it is. But like 52 overall. I don't think you need to see his ratings to see that like this guy is going to be like not good. 82 speed though. That's just horrible. And then tight ends. Trinidad is one of the older players that is going to be cut as soon as I can. Frederick Grossman. This guy's going to be an okay tight end for now. I think he, if I remember correctly, he was a true freshman, but I will not redshirt him because I don't have enough tight ends on the roster. So he's gonna get started right away, and he has 84 speed, which is already like better than our starting receivers. So I feel like Grossman is gonna be poised for a good season in year 1, and we'll see how much he develops. Next one is Taekwon Sandland, a normal dev trade, 3-star tight end, and yeah, not. I mean, he's a 66 overall. That's not gonna be great, anyhow. But like, he's just, his hands are so bad. 65 catching, seriously. Like, the only thing that guy can even do like remotely is kind of blocking. 71 speed is just awful, god awful. He's a blocking tight end, definitely. But then the great hope for the future, it's Javier Pullard, star dev trade, 3 stars from Alexandria, Virginia. And like, I have high hopes for this guy. He's not gonna be a great route runner ever, but his hands are at least like somewhat good, and I feel like it could get a little bit better at least, and he can develop a lot as a blocker, and his athleticism is good enough. I think his star dev will pull through and put him up by a lot for his then redshirt freshman season, which is going to be the year after this one. Now, another one is Cole Banks. I redshirted him. By the way, I think all of the tight ends that I'm showing you right now, I recruited all of them this last year, not in the first year. I don't think I recruited a tight end at all because there was none from Washington, D.C. Cole Banks, he's never going to be anything special. He's a 61 overall that's already almost capped out. Like, there's just not a real point in even talking about his ratings. At 70 speed, it's just not enough. And then, yeah, Ledesma is one of the guys that are going to be cut. And none of the offensive linemen that are going to be starting are from Washington or Maryland or Virginia. So we are going to have 5 starters along the O-line that are not essential to this series. But we have Jason Moreland, elite trait offensive lineman. I feel like he could do a 15 or 20 overall jump after his freshman season in the training results. I feel like this guy could be like a top 100 drafted player. Like, these caps are so unrestricted that I feel like in season 2 we're already gonna have an elite center. Unfortunately, center is just the least important position on the field, but like, he has already a silver ability here and a bronze ability as well. Like, I am so excited for Jason Moreland next year. And then we have Mike Meeks. He's also going to be redshirted this season, but at least we get 2 new starters next year that are actually like part of the pipeline rules. And yeah, he's a lot more restricted, but still, like, he's already a 68 overall, which is, compared to most of this roster, is actually average, and he still has like a lot of room to grow. So I feel like this guy could be like a high 70s, low 80s overall by the time he develops fully in a couple of years. So I'm kind of excited about him. And then at right tackle, yeah, we lost the only offensive line recruit from year 1, so, or from the first year that I skipped. So only 2 offensive linemen to show you guys. And then a middle linebacker turned edge rusher, a 1-star guy that had a massive jump in development in training after his after his redshirt season. Almost capped out now. Well, not almost, but like, I don't feel like he's going to be higher than like an 82 or 83, but I'm excited about him. Like, he's gonna be good. 76 overall is doable. And then the other guy that's gonna be starting opposing from him is Arnold Dozier, 2-star guy, normal dev, nothing special, but 71 overall. I feel like that's not something that I can complain right now. And yeah, he's gonna be starting. As you could see, I had 2 other edge rushers that were not part of the pipeline deal. They are hopefully not going to be seeing the field a whole lot. I hope those 2 guys, Schulters and Dozier, are going to stay healthy. And then we have a 1-2 punch at edge rush that might not suck so bad. Siaki Crook is going to be redshirted. He is a 3-star from Germantown, Maryland, a normal dev trade. Not going to go a whole lot further than like a 75, 78 overall, I'm guessing. But gonna be solid for next year then, like, not this year. He's gonna be redshirted this year. Let's jump ahead to defensive tackles, where I also didn't get a whole lot lucky with recruiting. I got 1 guy in the first year. His name is David Gavazza. He's a 3-star normal dev trait guy. He's gonna be starting, and I hope he doesn't get injured, but I also have to start one of the old guys from the original roster. He has a little bit of room to grow. He has 86 strength, which is not horrible, but he's a horrible run stopper. I feel like his pass rushing is going to be good, and he has 2 mental abilities, which is cool. We'll see how he develops, but that's the only guy that's going to be starting. And then we have 2 redshirts. Trevor Moffitt is one of them. He was a JUCO transfer that I recruited. Normal dev trade, 3-star defensive tackle. 287 is kind of light, and his run stopping is absolutely horrible, but he can rush the passer, and I feel like that's something you can depend on getting better as well. Not just finesse moves, but also power moves. I feel like next year we're gonna have like a solid 1-2 punch at defensive tackle here with Moffitt. But that being said, he is a junior already, so like, he's not gonna be here for 5 years. And then we have Steven Nizielek, which is a horrible name to pronounce, but also not a player that is going to be super solid. 61 overall. Can you get him up to like 70 next year, and then he's a backup or something? Like, that's like the way I want to approach this. And then linebackers. Yeah, I have had a horrible time recruiting linebackers. There's just not many in this area, like in Maryland, Washington, D.C., and Virginia. So this is the only guy I got. I redshirted him. He's a 3-star normal dev trait pass coverage linebacker. 6'2", 216, really light. That's the pass coverage linebackers. But his pass coverage is really good. 76 as a linebacker is crazy good. His run stopping is horrible though. And his athleticism is... I don't want to even call it decent. But that's the only linebacker we got. The other two linebackers I have are still like from the old roster. And then let's go to corners. The first guy is not from the pipeline deal. But then we have James Gonzalez, who also has a deal breaker and might go soon because of coach prestige. I am really scared for this guy. He was a sophomore when I recruited him, a JUCO transfer. He has really good zone coverage. I'm not worried about his coverage abilities. Man coverage is pretty horrible, but like we're gonna run a lot of zone, I think. And the horrible part is 85 speed at corner. Yeah, we're playing in the Big Ten. I don't think that's gonna work, but it has to for the beginning. And then John Gammon, our first ever recruit. He is a 3-star, normal dev trait, nothing crazy. And yeah, his man coverage is okay. Better than James Gonzalez's, but zone coverage 64 is really horrible. So we'll see. I think we're gonna run a lot of zone just because I don't feel like we can run man. We're just gonna get torched a lot. At least this guy has like, nah, this is still horrible speed. He's one more speed than Gonzalez. Yeah, Gonzalez. Oh man, but now the most exciting part about this team is safeties, and we're gonna start out with Isaac York, playing time deal breaker. And that's why he's not redshirted right now. He's a true freshman, gonna start 4 years, hopefully 4 years. I hope he doesn't declare early, but elite dev trait. And 5'11", 214 from Middletown, Maryland. He has almost no caps. He's gonna be so freaking good. Like, he was a gem 4-star, so that's basically a 5-star. He has 79 zone coverage right off the bat. And that's already crazy good. And then 71 catching. Like, he has literally better catching than some of our receivers. Like, can you imagine? And then his run support is really good as well. And his man coverage is not great, but that's fine. The best thing about him is definitely his athleticism is elite. 90 speed, 92 excel, and good enough agility and change of direction. This guy, like, especially for a guy that's 214 pounds, like, that's almost linebacker size, you know. And this guy has some serious abilities. And I am so excited about seeing this guy on the field. Isaac York is going to be our first drafted player. I'm 100% on that. Rob Maslowski, he already has a redshirt season under his belt. He's a normal dev player, 2-star. Now you might think, oh, that's nothing special. Well, he's 72 overall, and then now on our team, that's pretty good. It's just his bad luck that there's 2 better safeties than him. But he's gonna play a lot because on the depth chart, he has 88 speed, by the way, which is on this team is elite, and he is gonna play as a slot corner or a linebacker, and sometimes as a safety. Like, this guy's gonna be all over the field. The other 2 free safeties are from the old roster, so I'm gonna cut them next season. Gideon Umodu is the strong safety. He's gonna be starting as well. He's nothing special, and he also has a deal breaker with the coach prestige, I think. This guy's caps are pretty good. He's not gonna be like a 1st-round pick or something, but I feel like he could get up to like 85, 87 overall or something. His speed, his athleticism is the thing that's holding him back. But at least we got 2 really good safeties on the back end. I hope we don't get torched for a bunch of log touchdowns when the season starts. And yeah, and then we have got 3 redshirt strong safeties that I am excited and not excited about. This one, not so much. 3 stars, normal dev trait, nothing crazy. Joey Weekman, very German name. His caps are okay, not gonna be crazy good or something. Coverage is not crazy good. Athleticism, pretty bad. Nothing special. But there is a safety that I am actually, in fact, excited about. Oh, actually, I forgot. Weakman has a couple of mental abilities that are pretty useful. But I feel like he's gonna get overtaken very quickly by this JUCO transfer, Lane Van Ness. Because this guy has star dev. And 6'1", 221. I feel like this guy's good enough to play linebacker for us. We'll see if he does in the end, but his caps are so unrestrictive that I feel like he has a chance to get drafted at some point. He actually, now that I think about it, because he's a JUCO transfer, he might actually be our first drafted player if he gets to his caps in time. But his athleticism is not great. So yeah, he has a lot of potential, but the athleticism is really holding him back. So we'll see about that. And then Sam Ika, yeah. The exciting player was Van Ness, but we'll see. 3-star player, 64 overall, normal dev trait, with okay caps. For our situation, good enough, I guess. But the coverage is 69 zone as a safety. It's just not good. And then 63, man, it's even more horrible. We'll see how much he develops. But 82 speed is not going to scream starter to me, especially not with Umodu, Isaac York, Maslowski. Yeah. We have 2 redshirt kickers right now. 83 kick power for Donald Lanovoy. And the kick accuracy is going to be, hang on, 73. Well, I mean, that can get a lot better. And he has a little bit of room to grow, but I don't feel like he's going to be an NFL kicker at some point. And then the other one, I just recruited him because he was interested in me from the get-go. Like, I didn't even put much points into him, but he just wanted to come here anyways. That's just nothing special. He's like kick power in the 70s or something. And then 2 kickers. The first one, I actually couldn't redshirt him in the first season because I didn't have any other punters. And so he had to play. And yeah, he's solid. Not too worried about him. I think that's going to be fine. And he's going to continue playing. I'm not going to redshirt him now. I did actually redshirt, though, the guy that I just recruited, Dylan Spofford. Impact Dev as a punter, which is pretty nice. 3-star from Washington, D.C. And he's the other guy with the weird eye glitch thingy. His kick accuracy can get a little bit better, and his kick power as well. So I have hope that he's going to be ready once Camp Pounds is done. And then we're going to take a look at the schedule for this upcoming season. First game is going to be against FCS East. Yeah, I know I could have scheduled something else, but like I wanted to at least start with a win, and then before we go on in the 11-game losing streak. So we're gonna try to beat FCS first, and then Virginia and Navy, the 2 rivalry games to like get going. Really excited about that. Those 2 teams are not in our conference, so I hope I can schedule them every year. And then I just hope that Maryland is scheduled every year as well from the conference. Because if they are not, I can't schedule them. But Maryland is going to be our main rivalry. And then we're going to finish the season out against a bunch of teams from the Big Ten. And yeah, I'm really excited about this rebuild. So one thing that I forgot to mention, because on the right side it says here 79 overall team. Well, there is a few players on the roster that are like above 80 overall that I couldn't cut. 2 linebackers, first and foremost, but also like the offensive linemen and stuff. This is a lie, and I will try to have the least amount of players play or actually be on the field from that, like from before but I can't avoid it. Like, I can't, I just can't. But that's gonna have to be okay. I didn't like try, like I didn't wanna waste another, or like skip another season, because this is the first season that we have actually any players playing that I recruited from Washington, D.C., and a couple players from the newer draft class, recruitment class, like Isaac York, and he's gonna be playing. I'm not gonna jump or just skip his freshman season. I'm sorry, but I'm just not. So we're gonna have this season with a few players that are technically against the rules, but that's gonna have to be fine. And they're not like 90 overalls. They're not gonna help us massively. And then with receivers, I already showed you, like the best guy from our receivers is one guy that I wanted to cut, but I can't, because then I can't redshirt all the other guys from the most recent recruiting class. So I kept him on the roster just to keep him around, and then we are gonna have 3 garbage receivers actually on the field, and I hope the top guy doesn't see the field. And then we're gonna cut him next year. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this episode. I hope you're excited. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe for more White Tigers Dynasty. I hope you're also excited for the uniforms. I didn't show them on purpose, but next episode we're gonna see 3 games, the first 3 games, 2 rivalry games, and I hope a beatdown of an FCS team. And you're gonna see some uniforms and the stadium and stuff. I'm really excited. So yeah, thanks for watching, and have a great day.